Hi everybody, I want to show you how we did our assignment today if you were absent. We are learning about the scientific method and hypothesis and how that connects to social studies. So this is called a keyword prediction exercise, and I posted these terms for everybody to look at, and I wanted you to group them into pairs and think of how could these terms match what you know about the scientific method. And we did this as a priming activity. So for example, the word reach, does that go with experiment or reach findings or reach a question, or does ask go with experiment or ask a conclusion or ask questions? So I'll just kind of demonstrate how this worked. So I know that ask a question has to do with the scientific method, so I'm going to group those two together. Alright, so I did that. And I think I remember something about performing an experiment, so I'll write that together. Oh, I've heard about reach conclusions. I'll do that. How about record findings or record hypothesis? Let's do record findings. And then finally we have state hypothesis. Alright, so these go together. I'm just going to circle them. And then I want you to figure out what would be the order that they go. And to do that, I'd want you to read the passage below and on the next page. But since you're absent, I want to just kind of give you a little bit of a heads up and tell you what the order was. So when you're doing the scientific method, first you start by asking a question. So this is number one. Then you state a hypothesis. So make a guess on what you think will happen. So it's number two. Perform the experiment is number three. Record findings, number four, and then come up with a conclusion. Reach a conclusion is number five. So here's the prompt. Step one, ask a question. Ask a question. Step two is state a hypothesis. State a hypothesis. Number three, perform an experiment. And that would go right here. Perform an experiment. Four is record findings. Record the findings. Finally, number five, reach a conclusion. Reach a conclusion. All right, and then the rest of this is to help you think about how the scientific method works in social studies, and specifically this one is going to address how could you make a petroglyph. And you can actually use these steps if you are choosing the Make a Petroglyph project. Okay, so in this text, a scientist is going to predict how long would it take to make a petroglyph. So here you see, this is familiar, the close activity where there is missing words, and the choices are on the right. So I'll show you. The quartzite rock on which petroglyphs are carved is very hard. It seems like it must have been blank for people without modern blank. It must have been difficult for people without modern tools to make the carvings. Since so many people are fascinated by the handprints at Jeffers, it's natural to ask, how long did it take the Jeffers rock carvers to make the handprint? A previous experiment found that it was quite easy to make chips in quartzite by hitting it with another type of stone found in the region. With that knowledge, the archaeologist made an educated guess, a hypothesis. It would take several hours to carve a handprint like the ones found at Jeffers. So these scientists are guessing it's going to take several hours to carve a handprint. Now, I'm not going to complete this activity. I want you to finish it. But how long do you think it would take to carve a petroglyph? And that's what I want you to figure out. And we are using the scientific method to find out how long it takes to make a petroglyph. All right, thanks for listening.